Hello, my Crystal Loves Texas podcast family. And we all got to remember, we're looking at that camera right there. Now we're looking. Now, Kim, I want y'all both to look at me and see if I'm looking. No, look at the camera. Mm-hmm. See if I'm looking down now. No, look at the camera. Am I looking down?
I don't know, because I'm looking at the camera.
Okay, well, you can see if my head is looking down.
Now your head's looking down.
Oh, anyway, okay.
You guys, we got some new podcast equipment.
Yes. So. Thanks to Michelle Williams, who came down last Saturday and helped us get everything set up. So, Michelle, I hope we don't sound like we're in a vacuum or in a tunnel like we did before. But I want to thank Michelle for coming down and getting us all set up. My name is Crystal Dillard, and I am your teacher in the classroom teacher candidate for Texas House District 131, and we are on our way to Austin. Am I right, Rebecca?
Of course
you are. Am I right, Kim? All right. We are excited, but today, guys, you know, it's not about your representative just making legal decisions and laws in Austin. It's about your representatives making sure that the constituents who are down in these districts have access to the services they need. And today, what we're going to be talking about is access to health care. And that's something that right now, it is really a scary, scary topic, because as of December 31st, which was night before last, ACA subsidies ended. What is that going to mean to Americans? What is that going to mean to the constituents of House District 131? And let's be clear, Rebecca, where does Texas stack up as far as health care and Texans having health care in the country? Where do we line up?
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Texas is number 50 in the whole entire country of having health care.
And you know, and that's not a bragging right.
Yeah, that's not a flex.
No, okay, that's not a bragging right.
So may I give some figures?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Okay, so I wrote down some here. This is according to the last census, the last census that was taken.
Okay.
Okay, so alrighty. So now I'm going to give like totals, and I'm going to give Texas. Okay. So in our country,
yes,
we have a population of about 340 million people.
Okay.
Out of that population of 340 million people, there are about 6 or 7% of the population actually has signed up for ACA. So that's about 21 to 24 million people. Okay. Now, and about Medicaid covers about 20% of the population.
Wow.
Which is about 68 million people.
Okay.
So that means that total in the country, about 26% of the population is going to be affected by the discontinuance of subsidies.
Wow.
And by the budget cuts is going to come to Medicaid from the big BS bill.
So we're looking at about 4 million plus people.
Oh, no. 26% of the population.
Wow.
That's going to be about...
That's a quarter of the population.
Yeah,
so a quarter of
300
million.
It's going to be about 88 million people.
Oh, in the state of Texas.
No.
In America.
In America. Who
right.
are affected. So Medicaid covers 20%. That's 68 million people. ACA covers about 6 or 7% of the population, which is about 20 million people. So roughly about 88 million people are going to be affected. Okay, now.
And now, does that mean, or is what you're saying, because we did not take into consideration those people in there who have private insurance?
Yeah, this is just the people who are going to be affected by the budget cuts and by the loss of subsidies.
By the actual ACA.
By the loss of subsidies for ACA or Obamacare.
Okay.
Same thing. These are the exact same things. When those subsidies, when the when the Senate voted not to even have a vote to fund those subsidies, to continue those subsidies after December 31st.
Right.
That means now about 6 to 7% of the population, or 21 to 24 million people, are affected by that. Their rates are going to skyrocket. Okay. Now
What do you mean by skyrocket?
Just anecdotally, people have been getting now once these subsidies, when the writing was on the wall that these subsidies would not be continued,
right?
Then at that point, people started getting their what their estimates would be for their new insurance premiums.
Yeah.
Some people had in premiums going from $200 to $1,000.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, so, I mean, so these, like I said, it's anecdotal right now.
Yeah.
Because there are no figures, no hard figures to show this. It's just what people are saying. Hey, this is what is happening with me. Those are the people who are going to be affected most are the people who have the more serious diseases or health care
chronic conditions,
right, or children with those things,
or adults with those things,
adults or children with chronic diseases, chronic health, chronic things. They're the ones who are going to be most affected, because what has been estimated is that the people who are the younger, healthier people are going to just say, you know what, I don't need it. I'm just gonna not have health care. I'm young, I'm healthy.
And that's the people
scary.
Who own businesses.
That's right.
The people,
it may put people out of business, effectively.
For ACA, the people, I have to get figures, but anecdotally, the majority of people who are on ACA are people who are self-employed.
Small business owners.
Just small business owners who have been locked out of private insurance. And me and Crystal, we know that ourselves, because until Obamacare came through, back when we've had our television business, our insurance was, God, please don't let me get sick. That was our insurance. Just prayer. That's it.
And the thing about it is, Kim, I understand where the younger people are coming from. They say, well, I'm young, I'm healthy right now, I may not need it, but God forbid there be an accident. There be a fire, there be a catastrophic,
or no, something health-wise happens that you had no clue about.
That's
and all of a sudden, you are swamped with $100,000 hospital bills that you can't pay for.
That's right. So let's kind of revisit how insurance works. Insurance works by, they look at an aggregate.
Right.
The people who are the healthier
Explain
people,
what aggregate is.
the entirety of a population. So what is the way it's done is that the healthier people who pay their insurance premiums into the insurance plans, who may never use them, they're the ones who are actually propping up
paying the lion's share
for people who do get sick.
That's right.
Because when people get sick, that's when they use their insurance.
That's right.
They don't use their insurance if they're not sick.
That's right.
So the younger, healthier people are paying premiums, and those premiums are actually the ones that pay out when the people who are not as healthy get sick.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, Kim, and then I want you to tell a personal story of how Obamacare, ACA / Obamacare really came, you really got to see the full effect of it when you had an illness in your family recently.
Okay, so that was not it. So let's just understand, with insurance in the United States, there are several different kinds of insurance. Okay, I just mentioned Medicaid and Obamacare, which is ACA. Which covers,
those are one and the same.
They are one and the same.
Yes.
And it covers about a quarter of the population. Those two together cover about a quarter of the population. Now, the other part of the population, the other 75%, is either going to be covered by private insurance. That means people are paying out of pocket private insurance, or they're insured by their job. Now that's probably where most people get their insurance.
And I want to talk about that a little bit.
Okay, through their job. And then there's another population that is on Medicare.
Okay.
These are people who
the
are
elderly
population or disabled population,
Right.
and those people, the people on Medicare. So basically, that's where most people are insured by either private insurance, insurance through their jobs, Medicare, or ACA or Medicaid.
Right.
Now, if you don't fit into any of those categories, that means you are uninsured.
That's right.
And SOL.
Yeah.
Crap out of luck, basically.
So for the people who sit here and wonder, like, okay, well, the subsidies don't affect me, so I don't care. Because I've been hearing a lot of that all over social media.
I'm sure. That's
So let me explain to you how all of this works.
Right.
When you go to the hospital, let's just say you have a bad injury, you go to the hospital and the injury is serious.
Right.
The hospital is not going to necessarily turn you away
Right.
because you have this serious injury.
They must treat you.
They must treat you.
Yes.
Here's for the people who say this doesn't affect me. When those premiums cancel out, or they double, triple, quadruple,
And people drop their insurance.
and people drop their insurance because they can't afford it, the hospitals have to pick that tab up.
If
Yes,
they
they
get
do.
hurt.
If
And
they
that's right.
Right.
Yes,
The hospital has to take that. Guess where the hospital is going to get that money from?
Those ones who have to pay, who are paying in.
Who are
Right.
paying?
Because people are not going to show up at the hospital and be untreated.
Right.
That's not the way that our hospital system works here.
Right.
So,
So your premiums are going to eventually go up.
yes.
I see people already when they were enrolling at their jobs and
Yes.
stuff like that. Why is the insurance so high? Because they predicted, those insurance companies predicted, okay, this is not going to get passed. This
Right.
is not going to go through.
Yeah.
So let me just go ahead and raise prices now to have our bases covered.
Right.
So the people that are insured now because of their jobs, because of this, the reason your premiums have risen was because the insurance company took a step ahead of the government and just decided to go ahead and raise those premiums so they can meet their bottom line.
Right.
So Rebecca and Kim, let me throw this out there. As the United States, we like to tout ourselves as being the most advanced technologically, educationally, in all first world references, country in the world. Okay. However, as far as first world countries go, how can the United States have a system whereby our people are not taken care of when they are sick? Now, I understand not having something that is 100% socialized, okay? Because that's going to be too far. Well, the thing about it is that's going to be too far away from what the mainstream is going to be able to accept, okay? You and I may feel that that's good, but as far as that being the kind of thing that actually is going to fly, right now at this point in time, it's not going to fly. So to be able to have something like affordable health care that was partially subsidized by the government and had the individual pay in part of it too, that was a little bit more palatable.
That's right. And it covered a large part of the population.
That's right.
A large portion of the population.
And people who could not afford insurance before. Okay. There were a lot of people whose lives were saved by the Affordable Care Act going into effect under President Obama, who they're still here now because they could get treatments that only people who were insured could get before.
That's right.
Many times, and please make no mistake, many times, yes, the hospitals must treat people who are ill, but they are not necessarily going to get the state of the art, the cutting edge treatment that someone would get. Yeah, and then the decision has to be made then if they're going to simply make them comfortable.
Yeah. So now, when we first got Obamacare, we had our television network. That was in
15.
No. That was around
2010,
2011, somewhere in there. I can't tell you exactly when it was. We didn't think we were even eligible, but we had a cousin who actually, worked, was a agent, and he worked through the marketplace. He was like, yes, you all can get it.
And he insisted you guys do not need to be going without health care.
That's right. So he showed us how we needed to sign up. And lo and behold, all of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, we have a full plate of great health insurance, and we were paying like what, $30 a month?
Yeah, I was paying like $53.
You're paying $53. Mm-hmm. I might have been. I wasn't paying that much. I was paying like $30, maybe $35 a month.
And you had a dependent.
That's why.
You had a dependent.
But still, here's the thing. Now she was on her dad's health insurance, but here's the thing. When I tried to get, prior to Obamacare coming in, when I tried to get private insurance, I looked up everything, looked up the major insurance, your Blue Cross, everything. It was going to cost me as a private individual in the oh God,
early 2000s.
No. It was prior to that.
Right.
So it might have been in the late 90s when I said I was going to try to get insurance.
Right.
It would have cost me about $350 a month
in the 90s.
For private insurance as a person who was a single person. I did not include maternity on there at all.
Yeah.
It was pretty bare bones, and the deductible was going to be like $5,000. Okay, so that means that when we fast forward here to when Obamacare was available, that was like amazing to go from estimating $350 down to about $35, 10% of what it would have cost for private insurance.
Right.
It was amazing. Now, there are people who said, and I've known people, friends, relatives, who were small business people.
Right.
And I said, you know what, you need to check out Obamacare. Well, I make too much money and Obamacare is too, expensive and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, what are you comparing it to? Because I'm sure if you were comparing it to what I was comparing it to almost, 5 or 10 years earlier, it was going to be probably less than that. So what I'm saying is that if you go out into the marketplace, and not a marketplace as the healthcare marketplace, but if you go out and try to get private insurance, guaranteed that would have been more expensive than Obamacare.
And the thing about it is, it's really a trickle down effect. It's a trickle down effect, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why it is a positive thing to have these options available, like the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, is because that's the kind of institution that fosters small business in a country.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what would be an even better institution, going back to what you were saying, socialized universal health care. So let me explain what I mean by that. Every major developed country, except the United States,
except the US.
We're talking about Canada and Mexico alike. Okay.
UK, France,
everybody
all of
has
Germany,
socialized universal health care.
Right.
What that means is you can go break your arm today. You can go into a French hospital and only pay $25 copay for a broken arm and still maintain the best care that you could possibly get.
That's right.
Those countries consider health care a right, not a privilege.
That's right.
That's a difference.
So, I don't understand what the U.S. Okay, I understand what the insurance companies against universal health care because they would lose a substantial amount. They would lose billions. But for the regular citizens, I don't understand why we are such against universal health care.
I tell you why. When you hear the word, when universal health care is put forth as socialism by people who are trying to make it the boogeyman. And if you hear the word socialism, if most people who don't know what socialism is, here's the word socialism, all of a sudden they're like, oh my God.
They're thinking of Russia.
No socialism. No socialism.
No, Russia didn't have socialism.
We don't have
communism.
Yeah, communism, exactly. And so, they're like, no socialism. No, we don't want socialism in this country and stuff like that. Now, when those people have to have an emergency, and they have to go to the emergency room and they don't have insurance, Here is what happens. They have to be treated.
Right.
Now, understand this. When people go to the emergency room, maybe because they have put off care for a number of years because they didn't have insurance. Now, it is to the point that they have to get an arm cut off because they have been putting off something for so long. Or if they're diabetic and they have to get a foot cut off because they've been putting off.
It's much more serious.
It's much more serious, much more expensive than having that care, having that preventative care would have been in the first place. And so when people go,
that's where things like affordable health care comes in.
Yeah, when people go into
preventative care,
when people go into the hospital, that means that they're not going to be, for some reason people think if people get sick and they don't have insurance, they just sit around and die. No, they're going to go into the hospital. It's going to cost 10 times more than it would have cost.
And you're paying for it.
They're going to get treated and you're going to pay for it. That's how it works.
And this is why I say, and first of all, for all those people who say we don't want socialism in America, we have a military, that's socialism.
Mm-hmm.
ACA, that's socialism. Social Security, all of that, that's socialism. So America
benefits to farmers now that the tariffs had broken their backs and are threatening to bankrupt their
any
ranches.
type of government subsidy.
And when the president says that we're gonna pay those farmers, we don't want them to go out of business, so we're gonna pay those farmers. That's socialism.
Anytime those big bank bailouts that was too big to fail in 2008, which when Obama won the presidency, all of that is socialism. So you living in a socialism-esque country anyway. And I just don't understand.
And the thing about it is,
because the average American read all.
Well, Rebecca, and the thing about it is, what people have to understand, and we teach this kind of thing. People don't understand this, and we're not trying to call anyone's education into question or anything like that. But all we're saying is that it's so important that you read for yourself or Google for yourself and go to reputable news outlets and information outlets to get this information. Socialistic government simply means that at certain points the government steps in and they help out with funding things. That's what that means. That means that the society is the responsibility of the government. And at different points in our lives, when everybody had to go in, or when everybody was encouraged to go in and get a COVID shot, get the entire series, and it was paid for. You didn't have to pay for it.
Right.
That's socialism.
It was socialized medicine.
That's right.
I read something from I've been reading a lot of these things and reading the comments and things like that, looking at Apple News and stuff.
Yeah.
And someone from Canada was saying that in Canada, what they do now, some Canadians out here, please correct me if I'm wrong. They said in Canada, part of their taxes, when they pay taxes, the taxes go to pay for insurance. They go to pay for their socialized medicine. That's where the portion of their taxes go to. Unlike America, whereas we pay insurance companies to insure us. So at that point, we're not paying for, they're paying for health care through their taxes, whereas we pay for health insurance through our insurance companies. That's the difference right there.
And one is going to a private entity and one is going to a public entity.
Yes. Well, private, insurance companies, but hold on, they have shareholders. They might be owned by, different kind of funds and stuff like that.
Right.
They have shareholders.
That's private.
That's
private. Right.
Okay.
Right.
But, so that's what it's going. That's what it's going to. Now,
but here's the thing, Kim. Let's be clear on something. I think it's really important that people understand this. As advancement and technology and societies change, sometimes it renders certain types of entities obsolete, which means that are there still multiple wagon wheel companies around right now? Are there still entities that make stagecoaches around right now? Maybe only for show or for preservation's sake.
Yeah.
But as societies change, we have a society whereby it's pointing more and more towards us having a system of healthcare whereby more people need to be covered.
That's right. The population, we have a population of baby boomers now.
Right.
Even though I think
who require more care.
Who require more care. Even though I think millennials have tipped the scales now, there's more millennials than there are baby boomers.
Right.
But baby boomers are the ones
who need the care.
Who need the care.
Right.
And young people pay for the care of older people.
That's right.
That's how it works.
And that's so
and in most societies, that's the way that it works.
That's the way it works. So let's do this. Let's go to Texas.
Yeah.
Okay. Got some figures down here for Texas. Now, Texas.
And that was where I was confused. I'm sorry for the people when I said 4+ million people. That's where I know Texans.
We get into that. We get
into that. I got the United States and say
we get into that 4 figure.
Listening is also fundamental.
Okay. All right. Now, Texas population, we have roughly about 31.5 million people in Texas.
Right.
Okay. Now, Texas has the most amount of uninsured people of any state
in the country.
In the country.
We're 50
That's
in
right.
healthcare.
About 16.6 to 20%, according to the U.S. Census.
Right.
16.6 to 20% of the population is uninsured. So that's about 5 million people who are uninsured. Okay. Now, Hispanic people are more uninsured. About 38% of adult Hispanic people are uninsured.
Hispanic population.
Yes. About 22% of the Black population is uninsured. Okay. Now, in Texas, for ACA enrollment, Texas had about 4 million people enrolled in ACA. And that's let's see, that's about Medicaid had about 14.6% enrollment.
Right.
And let's see, and I'm sorry, and ACA had about let's see what it was.
Well, we're gonna let Kim figure those. We're gonna let Kim figure those
percentage all together. Let me just put totals on this.
Yeah.
So all together, ACA plus Medicaid, about 26% of the population had either ACA or Medicaid. 26% of the population. Okay. 16.6 to 20%. I'm just gonna round that up to 20%. Is completely uninsured. So that means the other half of Texans either have it through their jobs or through Medicare, or that's what that means. Okay, so what is happening now in the state of Texas is that, and not only that, throughout the country, when these subsidies were, when the Senate said no, we're not going to have these subsidies, that means in a red state like Texas, people who voted for Republicans in the state of Texas.
They're Republican senators and Congress people.
That's right. And I'm sure those people in that 26, in that, let's just say in that 20% of the unemployed population.
Right.
I mean, of the uninsured population, I'm sure many of those people were Republicans.
And the thing about it is, here's the thing, and that's what I wanted to kind of get to.
So people voted for their own, essentially, demise if they got
and what was going to be against their own best interest. And the thing about it is, we're talking about, Kim, let's call it what it is. We're talking about a situation where we have a president who simply did not want to honor the good measures that were instated by another president that he had something personal against.
Yes.
And the thing about it is, it's going to turn around and hurt millions of Americans, many of them who look just like him.
He does not care. And let's name check this, okay? He could not stand Obama. He did not stand that Obamacare That was a nickname for it.
Right.
That was actually a pejorative.
And it was supposed to be an insulting.
It was supposed to be an insult. It's supposed to be a pejorative.
Right.
Because they thought Obamacare was going to basically
make everybody hate it.
And make everybody hate it.
Right.
But lo and behold, people love being able to have insurance.
Yes.
What are the odds?
And you know what's more ironic than that?
What's that?
That wasn't even an Obama blueprint. It was a Romney blueprint.
Right.
Romney had it as governor in his own state.
That's
Obama looked at it and said, because if you think
this is great,
this is great. This
yes.
is something that we can use for the
entire country.
Right.
Yes.
So it's really and truly, if you're going to get technical with
a Republican measure.
it's a Republican plan.
Right.
Right. So I still don't understand why is it so awful when the Republicans essentially came up with it.
Well, when you have someone who is the president of the United States, who basically is pretty much a big spoiled baby man, at that point, then personal feelings and grievances come into play. So
and it doesn't matter what the fallout is.
It doesn't matter what the fallout is. Now, when those people who had SNAP benefits, I mean, check back a few,
back 2 months ago,
a couple months ago, when he said, "Okay, I'm going to take these people off SNAP benefits if the Democrats don't come to the table," he did not care that those people who were on SNAP benefits would not eat. He wanted to
many of his own supporters.
He wanted to use that as a stick to get the Democrats back to the table and then try to blame them for it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, if you have someone who is, I'm just gonna say it,
right.
a malignant narcissist,
yes,
who does not care or has no empathy for people at all, then at that point, use that.
Or the ramifications of their decisions.
Use it. Why not?
Yeah.
Exactly. Use it. So when people say this, when people, I've heard when the election came around, 90 million people didn't vote. Now, that's the figures I keep getting over and over. 90 million people did not vote.
Who were registered voters.
Who are at least voting age. 90 million of them
because they didn't like the choices.
They didn't like the choice. And they said, many of them said, well, both of the parties are exactly the same. Let me ask you this. To people who said that, did Democrats try to take your health insurance?
No.
Did Democrats try to take
your food subsidies?
Your food subsidies, which, many people, 20% of the population.
Did they go back and try to reduce Medicaid?
And that fight is not over. It's not. Come January 31st.
26th.
No, January the 31st. It's back on the table.
Yes. 26th.
Okay. It's back on the table.
We looked it up before we came in.
Oh, it's back on the table.
For SNAP and Medicaid.
So this time, what the Republicans had, and I remember we were having this conversation last week.
Right.
What the Republicans have now as their holding, as their
idea to bring to the table.
Not idea.
Their concepts of a plan?
No, what's the word I'm looking for? As their power play.
Okay.
Now it's back in the Republicans' hands of the power play. So their power play move. Ours was healthcare. Now theirs are abortion.
Okay. Yes.
So now the Republicans are saying if the Democrats want us to pass SNAP, they want SNAP is on the table. I guess
everything is on the table.
Right. Then they have to agree to have a 50-state abortion restriction / abolish plan. So now the Republicans are saying, now the ball is in our court. You want us to pass SNAP? Now.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing, Rebecca.
So
Rebecca, here's the thing now. This is the thing that's going to happen now at this point. If that's the case, then we have a system whereby now
that was the term I was looking for.
We have a system whereby now abortion and pregnancy termination, the vast majority of it is medical. Okay, it's about medication.
It's private.
Yes,
you don't have the vast number of people going
to clinics. That's right.
That's right.
And that technology is advancing more and more, and we can look at the amount of abortions that it was thought. The population increase that people thought was going to happen.
They thought it was going to plummet after Roe v. Wade.
Yes, and the thing about it is, the population increase since the abortion bans has not been.
It's not exploded like it's not exploded.
Yeah, and now, because that kind of thing is the kind of thing that people handle on their own now. Many people are not going into. Most people don't go into clinics. They simply go to their pharmacy and get what they need in order.
Well,
and plus, the pregnancy, what do they use? The birth control is a lot more sophisticated now. And it's available over the counter.
So now, and that's a part of the Republican package, right? So that I can't think of the Metastar, mifepristol, sounding like Trump now. The mifepristol is now also on the table for that. Yeah. So when they talk about a restriction of abortion, they are also talking about not just the clinic part, but they're also banning the pills. We're trying to, but my point to that was, this is now in the Republicans' back pocket. This is their back pocket. So now the Republicans are saying, so Democrats, if you want to play, let's play. Okay. If you don't give us a 50-state abortion ban, because abortion is not legal.
It'll never happen.
It's not illegal everywhere. So now the Republicans are saying, we're not signing this bill. Y'all won't get y'all SNAP benefits if we don't get this 50.
And the thing about it is, they don't have to, simply because who are the people that are jumping off that like rats off that are leaving like rats off a sinking ship right now? As I was reading yesterday, someone else just said that they're not going to run again. Okay, and that's the thing. These people, even though, Kim says this best sometimes. She said the ones that scream the loudest, just because they're screaming the loudest doesn't mean that they have the power that they think they have. But they're just the loudest one.
Okay, so yes. Wait, there's more.
Okay.
Now, let's get back to, medical abortions, that kind of thing. And they're trying their best to have it, we won't have it through telemedicine, and we won't have it in this state. We won't have it, in this state. But if somebody goes across the state line into this state, then they can get. But here's the thing: you can get it right now from other countries.
Right.
And when you get it from other countries, it does not have to go through telemedicine in this country. In other words, everything that they're trying to put up as a block, because of the way that our society technology has come to, that's right. They're trying to treat a 21st century problem with a 20th century solution,
right?
And it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Now, all right. Number two, when these when the midterms come, now they may be using this as their back pocket play.
That's what I was trying to say.
Now, the Republicans in January saying, okay, this is our pocket play.
Yeah.
We're going to say, we're going to,
you want to eat this restriction on abortion.
All of this. They're going to put all that on the table. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Midterms come up next November.
Right.
Right now, so many Republicans have said, I am done.
Yep.
They
see the writing on the wall.
They see the writing on the wall. They know their own constituents. Many of them are using these plans. They're using Medicaid. They're using SNAP benefits. Yeah. They're using
affordable Obamacare. That's right.
And their families are. And even if they're not personally, they have friends and family members who are. So if you say, I'm not going to give you, I'm going to vote against your health care, do you think they're going to be voted back in? Now, there's some people who cannot connect those dots.
Yeah.
But most people who are thinking people understand, you know what? If you voted against my health care, you know what? I'm not going to put you back in office.
Oh, and they're telling them in town halls all over the country. All over the country. And here's the thing. I'm going to say this again, and I said it last week. I said it when we were on with Liz. Rebecca, here's the thing. If you are a person who feels that what you got to have enough of a backbone at some point. And you know, why would you have to be pressed up against the wall to have a backbone? I said this last week. I said that I used to have a huge respect and look up to people who were our lawmakers and our decision makers until I saw the way that they began responding to this particular person in office right now. When I saw that, and I mean, you know, regardless of the party that they were with, these are people I held in higher regard simply because they had a responsibility for making good decisions for the country. And for the most part, we may not agree on everything. For the most part, our country has come along and been able to make it through some tough times.
What a problem.
But here, let me finish. But here's the thing. When I saw the way that these same people responded, when this particular person was in office,
President Trump.
Yeah, when Trump came into office, and I saw men become mice, that was difficult for me to. It was not. I could not stomach that, to see grown men
and women
who have been able to stand so strong in other situations,
cower in the face of being primary. Now
I will tell you this, because I was looking at an interview with Republican Adam Kinzinger out of Mississippi, Michigan.
Right, okay. I remember Adam.
And Adam stood strong with January
Absolutely.
6th.
Absolutely.
Adam said out of his own mouth on MSNBC, he will never be able to run for office again in the Republican
But he had
Party.
a backbone.
Wait.
Yes.
He said that he would never ever have another opportunity to ever run again as a representative in Congress.
Yes.
That is why these people don't stand up to him.
That's
simply because once whether you see it as a good thing, bad thing, or indifferent, when you go up against Trump, unfortunately, because like Kim said, he is a man toddler tantrum. When you go up against Trump and he has you blackballed, you are not just blackballed out of your seat. You are blackballed out of that party, and you're blackballed out of that office.
And see, that's not how it worked in the beginning. That's right. That's how it worked in the beginning.
Liz Cheney even said that she could never ever run for anything.
But she'll be able to again.
That's how it worked in the beginning.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You have these people that say, you mean to tell me a lifelong dream of mine, and I'm here, and I love what I do, and all of a sudden, if I go up against this man, I could lose my seat, or I could lose my place.
All of a sudden, the tide started turning.
Yes.
So, and we saw people that we thought would be the staunchest supporters begin to say, wait a minute.
Yes. Now, was it last month, the month before last? All of a sudden, when there were elections that came up, and there was a blue wave that came through many of these southern states,
right? From
everything from the governorship to people who were public works people, that kind of thing. And they all were defeated by Democrats, not just 2 or 3 points. See, people won by like 17,
double digits,
because they're seeing what's going on. So right now, the threat from Trump
is not
primary people is not what it was.
No.
And they're seeing this. Now, there are people who still say, you know what, I don't even want to take the chance to spend the money, at least to fund it.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why a lot of them are stepping down, because they know if they get turn, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's why she stepped down.
Which in turn also means that threat is not there anymore. So if these people decide that they want to come back and run again 3 or 4 years from now, I think they could run, and they may be successful, because what we will probably see is a different Republican Party emerging.
Right, but my thing is, this is why they're not standing up to Trump. They do not want to take that hit.
They don't want to take the chance.
They don't want to take the hit.
At least the Sonic.
Yes.
In New York, She was gonna run up against Kathy Hochul in New York.
Yeah.
Well, she said that she felt like she had a good chance to win. She was gonna, but there was somebody else running in the Republican primary, and she said, you know what? Even though I've got like she had like $20 million in a war chest, something really large. She said, I know that if I run in this primary, it's gonna take such a large portion of this war chest that when I win it, she said, I knew I was gonna win the primary. When I win it and go up against this Democratic governor,
yes,
I'm not gonna have enough money to do it. Right. So it's all of those kind of considerations coming into play. And also these people have to understand that in office right now, they are having to look their constituents in the face who are on ACA and who are on Medicaid and who receive SNAP benefits and say, I did not vote for that for you. Yes. And you know what? That means that those people are probably not going to put them back into office.
And then,
that's right.
So that means that's money that they.
And then I learned today that Elon made an announcement today and said that
he crawled out of his hole somewhere.
He said that now he is pledging to put $400 million behind every single Republican race that goes up against Democrats.
It's not gonna matter.
So no, right. So he made the announcement today, crawled out of his hole. Everybody was kind of like shocked, but he said that he does not, that somebody asked him, why are you doing this? He said, because if the country goes back to Democratic hands, then we will never ever have a country, the same old script. But he was saying today that he's planning on putting $400 million into the race, and this time he was going to make sure that voting machines across the United States all were legitimate.
Well, right. Well, if he came out like that and showed his hand like that, at that point,
people are gonna make sure that's right, that everything, that I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
There you go.
Let's say this, Kim and Rebecca. I'm looking at our time.
Oh, I got something else to say.
Okay, but wait a minute. This is what I want to do. I'm gonna let you say what you want to say, but we're gonna go back to how this recent occurrence, as far as ACA is concerned, is going to trickle down and affect many, many people in District 131. And is there anything that we can do as a unit? Because it's not simply going to be your elected officials. What can we do as a unit to circumvent some of the fallout that is going to happen inevitably to people who are in this district? Are we going to have to do something to maybe shore up the different kinds of things that are provided by the county or by the city? What can we do? And most of it is going to have to be preventative.
Yes. See, the thing is, since Obamacare was conscripted by Romney in Utah, a lot of Utahns said that it saved their life.
Of course it did.
It did. So, and a lot of them did not fight, even though that is a solid Republican state. A lot of them did not fight Obamacare in this because they knew what it did for them back in Utah.
Right.
So I would think in District 131 and other elected officials that maybe that Texas could come up with a plan, hopefully under a new governor, come up with a plan that can save Texas to have our own Romney care in the state of Texas.
Well, there would probably be,
under a new governor.
There would probably be more of a way to extend Medicaid than to rewrite and have a whole Romney care or Abbott care, which ain't never gonna happen.
Because the thing about it is, Kim, why build another mousetrap when the mousetrap is working well?
Yeah, you
extend it so that more people can be covered under it.
And as we learned last week, I went back, I saw that footage. I was, Lord.
What did we learn last week? What we learned?
That when the extra money there was to expand Medicaid in Texas, the money that's left over that they're not using to expand Medicaid, they're sending into other states.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still stunned with that
So
revelation.
I put it like this: if you are within the sound of our voice,
Right.
and you are a voter,
Yes.
and let's say you are a Republican voter,
Right.
and you are a Republican voter who happens to be some of that 20% of the uninsured population in the state of Texas who was not eligible for Medicaid, or who was not eligible for Obamacare. At that point, I think you have to ask yourself, was it worth it? Was that vote for the party that is trying to literally keep you uninsured, was it worth it? Now, here's what I want to say.
So
Yeah,
we
right.
extend, hold on, I'm gonna let you finish.
Okay,
So we extend we fund Medicare, Medicaid, I'm sorry.
Right.
We fund Medicaid.
Right.
And then open up the qualifications for Medicaid, because there are people that are unemployed, there are small business owners.
It's state by state. The qualifications state by state.
But I'm saying in Texas specifically, if we can fund Medicaid, and overly fund it,
right,
and then open up the qualifications for people to say, okay, now these are the new qualifications in the state of Texas for you to
apply.
Right. So you would be open to doing something like that, Crystal?
Absolutely. And the thing about it is, Rebecca, when you have a healthy society, that is going to be, first of all, you're going to have a healthier bottom line, because you're going to have more people contributing to the tax base.
Right.
You're going to have more people who are able to work and contribute to. You're going to have healthier kids going to school. People are going to be able to achieve more. There's just, when you have a healthy population, it trickles down in so many other ways, all of them positive. Of course.
So what if you make now I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't want my tax money to go into no Medicaid expansion. I don't want my tax money to go there.
So what? That's what I would say. Simply because there are always going to be people. There are always going to be people who don't agree. You never are going to have 100%. Just like when we were writing the Constitution, when we first had the Articles of Confederation, where you had to have 100% of the people in the room agree. That's why we had to rewrite it, because you're never going to have that. There are going to be some who don't agree with it, but you have got to go with what is going to be the best for the majority of people. And that's how we've always made our decisions.
And understand that the money will be spent anyway. Either it's going to be spent in the front end, or it's going to be spent on the back end. When people are uninsured, that doesn't mean they just crawl off and die to themselves. That's not what happens. Right. Now, let me go back with a couple of anecdotes, okay?
Yes.
Crystal, when you first got Obamacare, that was the first time Crystal and I both were able to get colonoscopies. Okay? Now,
yes.
My colonoscopy was, great. Crystal had polyps.
Yeah.
Quite a few polyps. Now, we have a very, very high incidence of colon cancer
in our family.
Wow. Okay? Now, if those polyps, let's say if we did not have access to Obamacare, and those polyps were just left there, not removed.
That's the kind of thing that could become cancerous.
That's the kind of thing that could become cancerous. And knowing that we have a high incidence of it in our family, that's the kind of thing that Crystal might not have been sitting here today. Okay,
maybe not.
That's one of the anecdotes for Obamacare. Now, number two, for some of the Republican concepts of a plan, they were throwing out things. This is on a national level. They were throwing out things like health savings accounts.
Explain what that is, Kim.
A health savings account is when you are able to actually have a account that is blessed by the federal government to be tax free. You're able to put money tax free.
And most employers offer it.
Yeah. Well, not most employers. Some employers offer it. Some do. But you're able to put money into pre-tax dollars into this health savings account. And then that way it builds up, you get interest on it and stuff like that. And you can use it for care that is not necessarily covered by your health insurance. Let's say if I wanted to get a facelift, then I could use my health savings account for that facelift, okay? I'm using tax-free dollars, so that means I'm getting more money in the health savings account. Now, with a health savings account, you might have, now, one of the things that they threw out was that instead of giving money to the ACA, what we're going to do is just give everybody $2,000, and then that way they can open up a health savings account, and then that way that money is not going to the insurance companies, it's going directly to the people. They can research their options on their health care, and that way, and put money in the health savings account. Now, where this argument falls apart quickly is, number one, the fact that when people get sick, or people have an accident, or people have an illness, and if, let's say, if I had an accident and my chest was caved in a car accident, I am not at that point going to go and research how much it's going to cost from one hospital to another. Now, that's number one.
But also, Kim, here's the thing about it. Let's say you got $2,000 in the health savings account. Remember, you don't have any insurance. You go to the hospital and you hand them $2,000
in your health savings account. That means nothing's gonna happen.
That's right.
Now, another anecdote.
Nothing costs $2,000 at a hospital.
That's right. Another anecdote. Now, my daughter was on her dad's insurance,
and this is a true story.
This is a true story. A private, he has insurance through his job. Okay, she can be on that insurance until she's 26 years old.
Right.
Thank God, because of Affordable Care Act.
Right.
Now, but she had a health crisis when she was in college. Now, she is a healthy young adult.
She's 20 years old.
Yeah, these are the kind of people who are paying in order to pay for these sicker people. But as a healthy young adult, she had a health crisis. And with her dad's insurance, there was a $5,000 out of pocket. Okay, with health insurance, you always have a maximum out of pocket.
Right. You
have a deductible, and that is how much money that you have to spend out of your pocket before insurance kicks in. Yeah, that's right. So it was
$5,000. Deductible is the out of pocket.
$5,000 out of pocket.
Right.
Now, my daughter's health care added up to $128,000 for a 7-day stay in the hospital.
Right.
During the hospital stay, when she first went in, she had to be life flighted from one hospital to another hospital.
And let me just say this. She had a bad reaction to a regular over-the-counter medication. She had a bad reaction to it.
Exactly.
And ended up having to be life-flighted.
Yes. It was at the point she was going into liver failure.
Yes.
This was this was a huge thing. Now, let's just say, if I had this health savings account that these Republicans are throwing out as their concepts of a plan instead of ACA, okay, what do you think would have happened? If that $2,000, now mind you, that's in a year. It had not even had a chance to build up any kind of interest at all, okay? So at that point, you got a $128,000 bill, which is not out of the ordinary for people who have gone through some sort of a catastrophic event.
Right. You
have that bill, and then you have a health savings account, which maybe, even if it was a 50% interest rate, now maybe you have $3,000 in a health savings account. What is that going to do? It is not going to do anything. And even though she was not an elderly person, and we can say, okay, she's probably going to spend that amount of money if something happens, a heart attack or whatever, young, healthy person, that would have done nothing. What I'm saying is that in the last, 9 years, there has been opportunity for the Republicans on the national level and the state level to come up with some sort of a workable solution that is going to be good for health care for everyone in our country, and they have not done it. Just getting rid of the subsidies, which makes it to where people are not going to be getting health insurance and buying Obamacare, is not solving the problem.
That's right.
And if you are a Republican,
that's increasing the problem.
That's right. And if you are a Republican voter, and these things are going to be crashing down on you, at that point, now you might want to ask, did I vote the correct way? Was my vote for the Republican Party worth it? Was my vote for John Cornyn
And
Ted Cruz.
And here's the thing I want to say. I'm just gonna put this out here. I'm gonna give Rebecca the last word on this. How important. There comes a place in time, ladies and gentlemen, where you have to decide if you are going to be loyal to humanity or to party.
Or even to yourself or to a party.
Yes. And, you know, when you make a decision to vote against your own best interest or the best interest of your family, of your neighbors, of your school district, then you have got to start questioning whether or not that ball has begun rolling and but that little snowball has become an avalanche.
Mm-hmm. And then
You've got to
engulf you.
That's right. And when you know, avalanches are never good.
So my mom, this had to be in 1999. My mom had to put a pacemaker in because my mom has congestive heart failure. And when they got the bill back, I'll never forget, my dad's jaw dropped. She was in the hospital for 7 days. 7 days and then another 4 extra days because they wanted to make sure that the pacemaker was working
functioning right.
Yeah. They got the bill back. It was $230,000.
Right.
That sounds right.
So their deductible, I remember my dad saying, was like $900. Also, he got an extra discount because my dad at the time, he was working for Prudential. My dad is an insurance agent. Right. And unfortunately, or you know, insurance agents and their family, they get discounted even more for like surgeries and stuff like that. So I can just imagine. So we were very fortunate that her surgery didn't put us, you know, in the poorhouse. Right. And I think, you know, my dad will tell you himself, sometimes I have an unfair advantage because I actually am, an insurance agent. And a lot of my dad's benefits have spilled over for lifetime benefits.
That is the fortune.
So, you know, he still pays into that. But he still, in a lot of areas, have lifetime benefits and a lot of his, you know, insurance because he was an agent. But just he and I talking, and he was saying, what I don't understand, people are going, and then now Trump has put back medical debt.
Yeah. That's what I was going to mention.
On medical debt back on your credit report.
That's,
you know,
look it up in the one big beautiful bill, people.
So now everybody is eating essentially off of sick people. One thing that Obama Biden did do, they made sure that was one of the things that was like taken away completely.
That's right. Medical debt will not bankrupt you and will not.
Because you have people who had kids in college, and they were going into debt behind paying for their children being in college, on top of medical debt. I mean, and it was so crushing. People had to make life-altering decisions. Do we pay this mortgage or do we pay this debt?
And not just that, Rebecca. Here's the thing. When you have, you know, when you've got to look at a situation, you know, our government, President Obama would not have looked at that and said, this is something that we have to really consider adjusting if it had not been affecting so many people. When you have things like medical debt going onto your credit report, not to say that people in good faith, many people in good faith are going to always try to pay their debts. They are. Most people are.
When they don't pay,
but when you've got some people who will not, but many people who are in good faith, will try to pay their debts. However, if you've got a situation where someone is a young couple, they've got a sick child, and a child with a chronic illness, okay, and they've got loads of medical debt, you rest assured that couple will never ever be in a position to buy a home.
Or work. Yeah. And you know, and the thing about it is that in Louisiana, Louisiana is like one step above Texas as far as having uninsured people.
Right.
And
so only because it's a smaller state.
And you
only
have
because it's a smaller state.
Yeah, and you have
so
you have Mike Johnson,
right,
who is the Speaker
of the House.
All righty. And now he has to look into the faces of his constituents,
Yeah.
his poor constituents,
Right.
who are uninsured, who are on SNAP, who are on Medicaid, and he's going to have to look in their faces and say, I voted against these things for you.
Oh, and he had
so many of the Republican, and I'm going to say our Republican,
Yeah.
members of the House and Senate
Yes.
have to do the same thing.
To their
And you know what? At a
Yeah.
certain point, they're going to understand at a certain point that their constituents are not going to put them back in office.
Right.
Oh, and he has, and basically told the people of Shreveport, Louisiana, because that's what we represent.
Right. Shreveport.
I don't care.
Well,
my loyalty is not to you. My loyalty is to Trump.
And that's why he won't be put back in office
That's right.
Soon. And then inevitably everything turns over. And that's the problem. That's the problem with us having a situation or having a person at the top, President Trump, who is so dogmatic that he will not work in tandem with other people to get things done, because that is going to cement people not having faith in what your party can do.
All righty. So now, people, voters, and people who have not registered and not voted,
Yes.
because they think both parties are the same. Okay, now we have had our flirt with authoritarianism.
Yes.
All right, we've had our flirt with it,
Yeah.
and we see how it's come along.
That's right.
It's not good.
And if we hadn't had this kind of pushback thus far, it would have been worse. Just a little bit of pushback.
So that means the next time when you are confronted with a situation that you feel does not affect you, so you're not going to vote, you're apolitical, I just don't vote, I just don't care, it's not my,
I'm not into politics.
I'm not into politics, that kind of thing. Well, you know what? That's a real privilege to feel like things do not affect you to the point
until they do.
Until they do.
Yeah.
Or your loved ones, or your friends, or your neighbors.
That's right.
So, when you think about that, the next time midterms are coming up, I want you to think about that the next time that you have an opportunity to register and vote.
And with that in mind, we work with it. And Candace was on here a minute ago. Candace works with an organization. Kim works with an organization. I work with an organization called Cut to the Vote. And what that organization does is rallies salon owners, barbers, braiders, nail salon owners, people who have businesses that the community frequents all the time. We make sure that we get voter registration information into those businesses where people are. You don't have to go down to the post office to get a voter registration card. Just go to the salon like you do anyway, and ask your salon owner to reach out to us to make sure that we get some voter registration cards into their salon, because all you've got to do, it takes literally less than 2 minutes to fill it out and drop its postage paid. Drop it into the mailbox.
While you're waiting to get your hair done,
that's right.
Use two minutes of that hour and a half that
that's
you wait
right.
to get your hair done.
And when the post
register.
That's right. When the postman comes in to pick up your barber's mail, he picks up your voter registration card and takes it down. And they say that it takes 2 weeks. Usually that voter registration card comes within 7 days, 7 to 10 days.
Now, another thing, we know there are a lot of returning citizens.
Right.
That
people who have been formerly incarcerated.
We know in our population of Black and brown people, we have quite a few returning citizens.
That's right.
If you are off paper,
if you've completed all the conditions of your parole
or probation, and that's called being off paper. If you are off paper, you are eligible to vote. Do not let anyone
tell you that you cannot,
or scare you into thinking you cannot vote if you are off paper.
If you've gotten your discharge paper where that parole or that probation has been discharged, you are eligible to vote. Your voting rights are automatically restored.
Yes.
Yes.
So this coming up time in midterms and every election that you can, even before midterms, even if it's for dog catcher, you register, you vote.
or else you will end up with a situation like this again. And this situation, for whatever people say about it, I think that it has been a wake-up call for our country. A wake-up call to what can happen if you do not exercise your right to vote, and if you think that people are joking about what they say they'll do when they are running. If people say, I'm going to take this opportunity to get back everybody who stole my marbles when I was 6 years old out on the playground. If they say that, they're gonna send the Department of Justice after that person that stole their marbles. It can get that petty. We see that it can.
It does.
Yes.
So a lot of people I know after the election say, well, this happened. We're just gonna sit back and we're gonna let this country just burn. Well, we're all sitting in the pit right now. We're sitting in the barbecue pit right now, and it is burning. So how are we going to get ourselves out of that pit?
That's right.
The one thing that is available to us
is the vote.
Is our vote. All right, Crystal.
And you might want to go ahead and do that while we still have a democracy.
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And $400 million of Elon Musk money,
it doesn't even matter. Go ahead and run him back to wherever he came from. I mean, let's whatever it is, whatever he thinks is so horrible about the United States, guys. If you think it's so horrible, go ahead and find somewhere else. We don't need a million of him around. We just don't. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of comments on here tonight, and we welcome your comments, because we'll definitely answer those comments. But this is what I want to say, and I'm going to end with this before we say good night. It's not simply about your representatives going and making laws that you don't know about. It's about them, whatever decisions are being made, whatever things are coming to the table, you need to know about that real time too. You do, because it's going to affect you. It's about them bringing that information back to you on a platform like this.
And when Crystal gets voted into office, this podcast will still be going on.
It will still be going on, because it's very important that you know exactly what's going on.
She may be tired.
And I may be tired, but it's important that you know what's going on, and it's important that you have the opportunity to interact.
Yes.
It's important that you have the opportunity to interact.
You have a voice.
You absolutely have a voice. Okay. And what we have to do is understand that it's not simply your representative. It is us working in tandem together. It's us going down and getting the assistance of people from the county. It's us going down and teaming up and working in tandem with people from the city of Houston. Mm-hmm. We can make this district exactly what we want it to be. We can make it exactly what we want it to be. And right now, we have a really good opportunity. It's a prime time to do that. But we've got to decide that we're going to work together to do that. But Kim and Rebecca, like we always say, did y'all?
Oh, wait. We got a couple of announcements.
Yes.
One, next on January the 10th.
January 10th.
We have our first block walk.
Our first
block walk. On January the 10th, we have our very first. We have our very first block walk. I'm gonna let Kim speak to that since she's the manager. Go ahead, Kim.
Okay. We January 10th, we're going to have our first block walk. Our block walk is going to be in the Morningside neighborhood.
Across the street from Tom Bass Park. So we'll probably have something set up over at Tom Bass Park where we're going to, have it where people who want to block walk with us will come with us. You're going to be able to get a t-shirt. Yes. A Crystal Loves Texas t-shirt. Meet me. Ask me questions. Ask her questions. And go ahead and register to vote. Yes. That's very important. So block walk, register to vote, and immediately after the block walk, we're going to have a meet and greet. So that's going to be on the 10th. That's our first block walk. Yes. So in next week's podcast, we're going to pub it up again. So that way, and give you all the details. So that way, if you want to walk with us, go to crystaldillard4texas.com, and then you can go ahead and sign up as a volunteer. And I almost forgot this. And I'm surprised Kim and Rebecca did not say this. For everyone who has donated to my campaign, my gosh, Thank you so much. You have no idea what that means to me, because we realize that in this climate right now where we don't know what our expenses are going to be next week, we don't know if we're going to be able to have this or that or healthcare. For people to make the decision to support my campaign means the world to me. Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, especially my teachers, my friends of teachers, my former teachers, guys, we got to get out and support these teachers who are going to be working on your behalf to make sure that we don't forget that public education in Texas doesn't become a thing of the past.
That's right.
You know, we don't want to tell our kids how it used to be when we would go to football games on Friday nights. You know, that kind of thing should not be a thing of the past.
And Crystal's campaign does not run off air. So
yes,
air and oxygen and vibes.
Yes.
So we have to have money, $2, $3, $10, $5,
$100. It doesn't.
$1,000 if somebody is generous and want to write a $10,000 check.
Absolutely, absolutely. And guys, I have two different ways, actually 3 different ways that you can donate to my campaign, and we'll make sure that we get that in these comments. You can donate through @Blue if you go to Crystal Dillard 4. That's the numeral 4, Texas. TEXAS.com. You just click that @Blue button, and it's right there.
And Crystal, just real quick, tell them what the significance of 4 is.
Oh, the significance of 4, Crystal Dillard 4, the numeral 4, Texas. I'm number 4 on the ballot.
On the ballot. 4 Texas. That's right.
Yes.
So now, Crystal, where can folks see you? They can see you here on Facebook.
Yes, they can see me on Facebook.
And
you can also, and please follow me on Facebook. Please like me on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Subscribe on YouTube.
Subscribe on YouTube.
Share on YouTube.
Yes.
Okay.
And share here on Facebook. That's what I really want to get across to you guys.
Since we also on Instagram and TikTok.
Yes. And since we are grassroots, people are going to find out about us through your sharing.
Yes.
Okay. So just think, if we got 5,000 eyes that are on us from my page, if you share it, that's another 5,000 or 1,000 or 500 from your page who'll learn about our message.
That's right.
Another from Kim's, another from Rebecca's. If you just hit that share button, a share means everything. Don't just click that like or I like that or give me a little blue thumbs up. Just click share.
Right.
And that's as good as a donation for those people that are not able to donate anything. That's perfect.
But we still want you to donate, though.
Yes, right. Do what you can.
That's not a substitution.
Do what you can. Absolutely.
Also, so we have that coming up. So Crystal is going to be a lot more visible.
Yes.
These next couple of months, you are going to see her practically everywhere in the district, at different activities. So Crystal's face will be in a place. It's after the holidays now.
Yes.
Everybody has kind of died down. So now everybody's focus is on the election and the upcoming elections. So she is going to be visible,
at churches.
Visible.
I'm going to be at different community organizations.
The MLK parade. We're going to be in the MLK parade.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so that way you can see Crystal, you can see the marching Rosies at the MLK parade. And that way you can go ahead and give her a we can do it.
And we've even got some crystal keychains that we're going to be throwing out.
Yeah.
And we've got some crystal buttons that we're going to be throwing out for you guys. Yes. Mm-hmm. But more than anything, please, whatever you can, donate to my campaign on @Blue. Donate to my campaign on GoFundMe. Mm-hmm. This is a teacher-centric, education-based campaign, and if we want things to be the way that they are and get better from a public school standpoint, please put your teachers in office.
Also, Crystal, is there any other way to donate? Let's just say
yes, I've got people who have donated to me via Crystal Dillard for Texas on on Cash App, on GoFundMe. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure that we put all of those, because let me tell you, I didn't even know that this was a thing, but this is a thing. I have some people who are independents. They're independents. They don't subscribe to either party or any party for that matter. And they don't necessarily want to go to an ActBlue. Okay. And let's be clear, when you donate through ActBlue, you got some trails that follow you.
You're on the list.
You're on the list. So you may get information from every other Democratic candidate who is in Texas and the United States from that point forward. Some people don't want to have any parts of that, and that is okay. So what you can do is you can give to my campaign on GoFundMe. And GoFundMe is great because that also gives you an opportunity, that gives teachers from all over the country the opportunity to support me. Yes.
Also, she does Cash App. She takes cash. She takes check.
Yes.
We take every single form of payment known to man on earth.
So we're gonna be having all of those payment forms available on our block walk when we are in Tom Bass Park getting ready to walk the block on the 10th of January.
And we'll have QR codes for all of them.
We're going to be walking between 8 and 10.
Yes.
So, like I said, we're going to be, saying a little bit more about it next week also. Yes. So that way, if you want to walk with us, go to Crystal Dillard for Texas, go to volunteer. And if they volunteer, one of the boxes you can check is block walking.
Yes.
And that way, we can get information directly to you. Basically, we're telling you, repeating this information, where we're going to be, and what time it's going to be. And walk the block with us in your Crystal Loves Texas, Crystal Dillard for Texas t-shirt.
Yes, and you're going to like our t-shirts. And guys,
cool.
people have been asking me about the Rosie the Riveter, theme. And let me explain to you about that. With me being a history teacher, I teach about Rosie the Riveter. A lot of people don't even understand or know that in our last major World War, which was World War II, which I teach about, most of the men, they were called GIs, General Enlisted Men, they went off to war. The women were left here to pick up the pieces to keep the country going in every aspect, while their husbands and while their sons and uncles were at war. They worked in factories. They were putting together airplanes. They kept it going. And there is a famous picture called Rosie the Riveter, and you'll probably see her and remember it because she's got on a bandana tied around her head that's polka dotted,
red and white polka dot
and
bandana.
She's going like this. We can do it, and you see we can do it at the top. A lot of people have done their own manifestations of that,
including Beyonce.
Yes, in recent years. But that means that we don't give up. Whatever needs to happen to get the job done, that's what we're going to do. That's why I chose Rosie the Riveter as my campaign theme, because that's what we're going to do in this campaign. We're going to get it done, whatever it takes, regardless of what we have to do to get it done.
Right.
And that's why I use Rosie the Riveters. But what you'll notice is this time we've got Rosie 2.0. So I don't have
professional Rosie.
Yes, we got the professional Rosie
2.0.
Yes. So I don't have on the bandana anymore,
or the work shirt,
or the little union pin. But I have on a blue suit, still with the red in there, the red shirt. And I'm going like this. We can do it. And we still got the "we can do it" at the top. So same thing, updated.
A modern version.
A modern Rosie. That's right.
Right. And the common denominator is
we can do it.
We can do it.
We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.